The most effortlessly put together woman you've ever noticed almost certainly wasn't wearing anything you couldn't afford. Here's what she actually had that you probably don't. 5 specific, unglamorous habits that never make it into style videos because they're not exciting enough to film. But they're the real reason she registers as expensive, intentional, and completely herself the second she walks into a room. Think about the last time you saw a woman and thought, she just has something. There's a real chance you could name exactly what if someone walked you through it. None of what's coming is a secret held by stylists or influencers. It's just never packaged as its own video because 5 quiet habits don't photograph as easily as a new outfit does. Today, I'm giving you all 5, exactly what they are and why each one works, so the next time someone stops you and asks what's different, you'll actually know the answer. Welcome back to Melanin Care. Before we get into it, I want to be clear about something. None of what's coming requires a bigger budget than you already have. Every single habit on this list costs little to nothing, and most of them take less than a minute a day once they become automatic. What they require instead is consistency, the same principle behind almost everything we talk about on this channel. I've picked these specifically because they're the ones that come up over and over in this space once you actually go looking for them, instead of assuming it's all about the clothes themselves. Some of these will feel almost too simple when you hear them. That's not an accident. The habits that actually compound over years are almost always simpler than the ones that get the most attention online. One deliberate choice, repeated daily, does more for how you're perceived than an entire closet of expensive pieces worn without intention. Let's start with the one nobody expects. Quick ask before we dive in. If you're new here, hit subscribe and tap the bell. We break down the real reasoning behind style and beauty choices for Black women over 50 every single week. Okay, habit number 1. Why small, unglamorous habits like these actually matter more than big purchases. Because this explains everything that's coming. A single expensive item gets noticed once on the day you wear it, and then it's just part of your closet like everything else. A habit repeated daily compounds. It's the difference between a single loud moment and a quiet signal repeated so consistently that it becomes part of how people categorize you without ever consciously deciding to. This is exactly why some women seem to have a consistent presence across years and even changing trends, while others feel like they're starting over with every new season. Presence isn't rebuilt each time. It's compounded quietly, the same 5 or 6 ways for years. That's genuinely the whole logic behind this entire list. There's a practical side to this too, because none of these habits depend on trends. They don't expire the way a trendy purchase does. What you build this year is still working for you 5 years from now without needing to be replaced or updated, which is genuinely rare in anything related to style or beauty. Habit number 1, a signature scent. Number 1, and it's the one people notice before they even fully see you, a signature scent, worn consistently enough that it becomes associated with you specifically. This isn't about wearing perfume. Most women already do that. It's about wearing the same one consistently, rather than switching based on mood or whatever's closest on the shelf. Scent is processed by the brain differently than almost any other sense. It bypasses a lot of the usual filtering and connects directly to memory. When someone smells the same specific scent on you every single time over months and years, it stops registering as perfume and starts registering as you, the same way a familiar voice does. This is exactly why certain women are remembered as having a presence before anyone can articulate why. Part of that presence is literally scent memory. The fix is simple. Pick one signature fragrance, wear it consistently, and let it become part of how people file you away in their memory. If you're not sure where to start, ask a close friend to describe your current scent habits honestly. Most of us switch far more than we realize, simply out of boredom rather than any real downside to staying consistent. Think about it from the other direction, too. Perfume counters exist specifically because most women are choosing based on what smells good in the store that day, rather than committing to one scent long enough for it to actually become associated with them specifically. The commitment is the part doing the real work, not the specific fragrance itself. You don't need an expensive bottle for this to work. You need the same bottle used consistently for it to actually build the association. Habit number 2, posture. Specifically, the decision to stand and sit like you belong exactly where you are. This is the one habit on this list that costs absolutely nothing and requires no product, no purchase, no appointment, and it might be the single most underrated tool available to you. Slouched shoulders, a lowered chin, a tentative walk, these read as apologetic regardless of what you're actually wearing. Perfect posture, on the other hand, shoulders back, chin level, and unhurried pace, reads as confidence even in the simplest outfit imaginable. Here's the part that surprises people. Posture affects perception faster than clothing does because it's visible from across a room before anyone can even register what you're wearing. You could be in the most expensive outfit in your closet, but if you're moving through the world apologetically, that outfit does far less work than it should. A quick way to check yourself. Catch your reflection in a store window when you're not expecting it. That unguarded posture is usually the honest one, and it's worth noticing what it's actually saying before you walk into the next room. It's worth mentioning that posture isn't about rigidity either. Overly stiff, held posture reads as uncomfortable almost as much as slouching does. The actual target is relaxed and upright at the same time, shoulders down and back without tension, the kind of posture that looks natural rather than performed, which usually takes a few weeks of conscious practice before it stops feeling deliberate. Practice this specifically when you walk into any room, shoulders down and back, chin level, unhurried pace. It feels exaggerated the first few times. It reads as simply confident to everyone watching. Habit number 3, a tight, consistent color palette. 3 or 4 colors that all genuinely coordinate with each other, rather than a closet full of colors that each work individually, but never as a system. This is different from matching. Matching means everything looks the same. A consistent color story means everything you own, regardless of the specific piece, can be combined with almost anything else you own because the underlying color palette was chosen deliberately from the start. Think of it as reducing decisions rather than reducing color. If your closet is built around deep emerald, warm camel, rich burgundy, and soft cream, nearly any 2 pieces you grab together will genuinely work because they were chosen within the same family from the beginning. This is exactly why some women always look pulled together even when you know they're not spending hours getting dressed. They removed the guesswork years ago by choosing the palette once rather than making a new color decision every single morning. One more practical note on this. A tight palette doesn't mean boring. Within 4 coordinated colors, you can still have texture, pattern, and plenty of variety. The constraint is specifically on the underlying color family, not on everything else about the piece. Plenty of women mistake a tight palette for a limited wardrobe, when it's actually the opposite. It's what lets a smaller wardrobe function like a much larger one. A simple way to test whether your current closet already has this is to pull out 5 random pieces and see how many combinations genuinely work together without a single mismatch. If it's most of them, you likely already have a tighter palette than you realized. If it's only 1 or 2 combinations, that's your honest starting point for tightening things up. If you're starting from a closet that doesn't have this yet, you don't need to replace everything at once. Simply notice, going forward, whether a new piece genuinely fits the palette before you buy it, and the closet reorganizes itself naturally over a season or two. Habit number 4. Skincare prepped the night before, not scrambled together in a rush the next morning. This isn't really about skincare products specifically, it's about what rushed mornings do to how you show up in the world. When your routine happens calmly the night before, cleansing, treatment, moisturizer, all handled without a clock running, you wake up to skin that's already done its work, and your actual morning gets spent on things like breakfast, planning your day, or simply not rushing. This doesn't mean your morning routine disappears entirely, it just shrinks to what actually needs daylight, sunscreen application specifically, rather than carrying the full weight of cleansing and treatment on a clock that's already working against you. Women who look consistently put together, even early in the morning, are very often women who moved their preparation to the calmest part of the day rather than the most rushed one. There's a compounding effect here too, similar to the habits theme running through this whole video. A rushed morning doesn't just affect how your skin looks that day, it sets a tone for the next several hours. And most people underestimate how much that tone shapes everything from posture to the pace they walk at, tying this habit directly back to habit number 2 without anyone consciously connecting the two. The fix is genuinely just a schedule shift. Your full routine happens at night, and your mornings become about maintenance, not construction. It changes far more than your skin. It changes the energy you're carrying into the rest of your day. Number 5, and the last one, the confidence to skip a trend that genuinely doesn't fit who you are, without needing to justify that choice to anyone. This is the habit that ties every other one on this list together. A woman who trusts her own read on herself doesn't chase every micro trend that comes through her feed. She filters everything through one question. Does this actually belong on me, or am I only considering it because it's everywhere right now? That filtering is what separates a woman who looks intentional from one who looks like she's following instructions. This isn't about avoiding everything new. Plenty of trends genuinely do belong on you. It's about the confidence to say no to the ones that don't, calmly, without needing anyone's permission or agreement. This is genuinely a skill, not a personality trait, which means it can be practiced. The next time something trendy crosses your feed, pause before adding it to a list and ask honestly whether you're drawn to it or simply feel behind for not having it yet. Those are two very different reasons to buy something. And to be clear, this isn't about being resistant to everything new as a matter of principle either. It's specifically about the pause, the moment of actually checking in with yourself before adding something to a cart or a list, rather than skipping that check entirely because everyone else already has it. This is also, honestly, the habit most tied to age specifically, in the best possible way. Younger women are often still actively figuring out what actually suits them, which makes chasing trends a reasonable part of that discovery process. By 50, most women already know. The habit isn't discovering your taste anymore, it's simply trusting it consistently, out loud, even when a trend is everywhere and momentarily makes your own choices feel out of step. That specific kind of self-trust is more than any single item you could buy what actually reads as elegant, because it signals a woman who has stopped outsourcing her own taste to whatever's trending that particular week. So there you have it, 5 habits, and notice that not one of them required a bigger budget than you already have. A signature scent worn consistently, posture that says you belong in the room, a tight color palette that removes the daily guesswork, skincare handled the calm night before instead of the rushed morning after, and the confidence to skip whatever doesn't genuinely belong on you. None of this is about becoming someone else. It's about the specific, repeatable decisions that let the actual you come through clearly, instead of getting lost in noise, rush, or borrowed trends. This channel exists because most style advice skips straight to the visible layer, the clothes, the makeup, the accessories, without ever touching what's actually underneath all of it. These 5 habits are the underneath. 5 habits, one underlying idea connecting them all. Consistency applied quietly and specifically outperforms almost anything you could buy once and forget about. Pick one of these 5 to start with this week, the one that felt the most like a genuine gap rather than something you're already doing, and give it 30 days before you judge whether it's working. If you've made it this far, you already have more patience for the unglamorous version of style advice than most people do, and that patience is honestly the first habit on a list like this one, even if it never got its own number. If this gave you something real to start this week, hit subscribe. We're covering honest, reasoning-first style and beauty guidance for Black women over 50 every single week, and there's a lot more coming. I'll see you in the next one.